Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for October 2025. We're going to jump right in here. You have this peacock, it says, let it shine. And you have the squirrel spirit that says, believe in yourself. Before I started your reading, Pisces, for October, a question popped into my head. Like, who are you relying on? Or what are you relying on? And you have this believe in yourself card, and it's kind of saying the same thing to me, to you. Obviously, it's your reading, but it's like, what are you relying on that you feel like you can't, or maybe feels like it's, kind of like slipping away here. I feel there could be a good opportunity for you this month of October to create a little bit more security. And, that I think that's what I would focus on, of course. It's kind of a good month for your finances. So, maybe that's the area of your life that you should be focusing on is your finances or something that you're, working on or creating. And, again, it's not saying, again, I don't necessarily think anything is being taken away from Pisces or, I don't think you're going to, end up, on the streets or something like that. But I do feel like you could be feeling the pressure, of that, kind of like what are you relying on type of energy in the month of October. In your first row for your current general energies, you start with the Ace of Pentacles. The Ace of Pentacles can be a big opportunity that's coming in for you. Yeah, like I said, I think Pisces will notice the difference in October, especially, October, November, December. The end of the year here, I feel, will feel maybe a little bit better for you, Pisces, in general. And, it might take until, November, right? But you're creating improvements all along, so it's not like, things are going to be terrible in October or something. But I do feel, again, if you're working on anything new in the month of October, it could be very profitable, could help you improve your finances and things like that. And it also probably will stop the worrying. We have the Nine of Swords in this reading. And, it's funny that you have the Devil showing up below the Nine of Swords. Like, I do feel like worrying could be a little bit toxic for you. So, we'll talk more about that in a minute. But, it's definitely something I wouldn't spend a bunch of time doing, right? Because I think it'll drag you down. I think there's more good stuff to look forward to than there is bad stuff. And, that would be my focus. But I would also be focusing on, whatever it is that you're working on. And, I really think the believe it, you have that let it shine card, which is like, sure, you should be shining all over the place, Pisces. But, I think what's more important is that you believe that you can do something that you want to do or, that you have been doing. And, you need to do it in a bigger way. We're kind of in a time where Pisces has to be loud. I say this all the time, especially next year when Saturn moves back into Aries. I think Neptune in Aries too, but, Saturn is the big one for sure that, it's going into your second house, and second house is your values, but you have to and it's how you make money and things like that. But you have to be louder in the area of money, and so that means if you have a business, you need to tell people about it. If you have a job, you need to tell your boss you want a raise. If you, it's like if you're on disability or something like that, then maybe you need to, advocate for yourself to get paid more, right? Stuff like that. Those are the types of loud things that we have to be doing. And there's a million things that you could do, but that's what I would be doing with that Ace of Pentacles. Still a great time for healing. I mean, this will continue until March because we had that eclipse in Virgo, September 21st, a few days ago, depending on when you're watching this. And, again, I think that healing and taking care of yourself is going to be very important. I almost feel like you need to, the asking part is over is kind of what's popping into my head. So, if you're thinking about working on projects or, whatever, if you've been asking the universe for something, I feel like the universe is like, I heard you. Now it's time to take the steps necessary to get it. So I almost feel like you have to, get up off the ground with the Ten of Swords, even though that would technically be the Ten of Swords, which you have right here. So it's like time to get up. You have the Five of Wands. Five of Wands can be conflict or competition. Personally, I really like the Five of Wands because really it's an amazing card for kind of observing the competition, learning from the competition, which I would definitely do. And it's like that is the perspective we have on the card, right? It's almost like we are over here watching these people fight. And so we don't have to take part in that. We can study the competition. We can see what they're doing, what they're not doing, and we can work around the competition, or we can do something different than what the competition is doing in work or business or whatever. And, that's exactly what I would do with that Five of Wands. Let's see. With the Ace of Pentacles, you have the Knight of Cups here. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there could be a little bit of love, as always. I mean, this is going to keep coming up for you. So there could be like a love offer coming in for you here if you want love. I kind of feel that, this is you also grounding something, in reality. I do feel, the Knight of Cups is very dreamy. And let's put it this way. He's very dreamy. He has a lot of dreams, and he's standing in the desert, so he feels like nothing can grow, but there's water flowing in front of him, so he could easily plant seeds in front of the water, and they will grow. I feel like that's what this reading is really talking about, saying, like, you could have a very amazing October if you do something. If you plant those seeds, if you start working on that project or that thing that can make you more money, or if you ask for more money, right? But I feel like that's what also needs to happen with the Knight of Cups. With the Four Swords, you have the Five of Pentacles. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like, I would say this is your challenge for the month. This, the Ten of Swords, the Nine of Swords, the Devil mindset, thinking that you're not good enough, squirrel spirit, believe in yourself, right? Again, it could be one of those months where you feel like the competition is better than you or it's like maybe you feel like you're not good enough. Kind of feel like I don't want to say that I feel imposter syndrome, really, because that's not what I'm feeling for you, Pisces. It's not like you feel like an imposter, but maybe you feel, or maybe you're feeling, today is February, oh my God. Today is September 26th. And so maybe you are feeling even right now that you're not good enough to do something, or maybe you're putting people on a pedestal. It's almost, maybe that's a better way to put it. It's almost like you're putting the competition on a pedestal or thinking that they're better, but you're actually better. I think you need to realize that, right? And so the Five of Pentacles says, do not call attention to your weaknesses. You need to focus on your strengths. With the Five of Wands, you have the Temperance card. It's time for a big move, is what this is saying to me. It's like the Temperance card, he's doing too much, what do you call it? he's almost doing too much experimentation, which if you know me, you know I love experimentation, but, he's doing too much fiddling. He's fiddling around with an idea. He's, trying to make something perfect, right? And it's like not time for him to make something perfect. It's time for him to just get off on this path here and go get this crown that's glowing in the background. So, it's like time for a bigger move is kind of what the reading is saying to me, especially for those of you working on projects, businesses, ideas. It could even be yourself. It's like maybe you're trying to change yourself in some way or improve your health. And, I feel it's time to make those like deeper commitments, and that's what I would focus on here. Next in the area of what's coming in for you, you have this time shift card. It says past lives, insights, and probabilities. You have the siblings card. It says caring, support, rivalry, Five of Wands, and role models. So again, I do think there could be a little bit of competition going on for you at this time. I think I said it during the eclipse readings that I did, that the Virgo eclipse is a little bit interesting. It's there's a part of that eclipse, Pisces, that I feel could be, bringing out the competition, or, could be making you see people. It's like, it's like imagine if you do something and you get a result, and then someone copies you and they get a better result. It's like those types of things, right? And it's like, I'm not saying it's that is right or wrong, but what I'm saying is that like it's like, can you study those things, that upset you like that? That's just one example. And can you say like, okay, but like, why did they get a better result? What do I need to do, right? And, it's like maybe you need to be more confident. Like, I think it wouldn't be a very good month for you to be sitting on a fence, right? I think it would be a better month for you to be decisive, even if you're wrong. It's like sometimes I think it would be better for us to just make a decision, even if we're wrong, like especially from a confidence standpoint, and, then kind of like readjust as we need to. And I kind of get that energy here for you. You have the Queen of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, and the Nine of Cups. It's like I get this energy for you, Pisces, of like needing to be, it's like, I feel it would be a good time, it's like, I think it's Mark Manson, I'm not sure who it is, but I'm pretty sure it's him, who says, like, if something is an F yes, it's an F no. It's like that is the type of attitude that I think you need to have this month. The other interesting thing that's popping into my head here is like, I feel the same thing with people. Like, let's say you're looking for love. It's like, I feel like the Knight of Cups, Ace of Pentacles, Ten of Swords, Nine of Swords. It's like this feels to me like a person who is like 50%, maybe. It's like, yeah, they're interested in you, but it's like, meh, you know what I mean? It's like they're not bringing that fire. And so I feel for you, Pisces, it's like it's time for you to not settle on less. So especially for those of you that are looking for love, it's like if someone isn't all in, that doesn't really mean anything. It's like, fine, no one has to like us. It's not a requirement. But, karmically, if that is a word that I can use, I believe it's time for Pisces to be like, no, I'm not going to, it's like old Pisces would settle for that, right? It's like I think old Pisces would basically settle for a crumb of attention, I think it's time for you to be like, if someone isn't bowing down at your feet, move along, right? Go take a hike. So, again, obviously I'm not saying that you should be toxic, but, what I would say is that it's like if someone just kind of seems kind of interested, it's popping into my head that you should be like, okay, they're a good person. You don't have to, again, I don't think we have to be posting on TikTok about these people and stuff like that, but we can just choose to be like, okay, I'm just going to move forward and, find something else. The Queen of Pentacles is also about your resources. Now, some of you could be attracting a Capricorn because you have this in the Devil, and, there could be a lot of attraction between you and a person. So, that would be great, and especially if they're all in, right? Especially if they're an FES, right? But I also feel that it would be, really good time for you to focus on your resources because it is it's an amazing financial month. Maybe not, but I do think there are a lot of good opportunities for you to potentially make money this month, extra money, ask for a raise or a promotion, get loud. If you have a business, maybe you need to advertise, or maybe you need to start an Instagram or something like that, right? To improve your finances. I would just pick something and do it. You don't even have to be right. That's the beautiful part about right now. And I would just do it. You have the Ten of Swords. Yeah, I actually feel pretty good about this because I feel it's a good time for Pisces to say, like, to choose who they are. It's like you are choosing your identity. And, I think there are old, like, weak parts of yourself. We all have these parts of ourselves. I'm not calling you weak. I'm just saying, we all have these things that make us feel weak or, make us feel like we don't have energy or whatever you want to call it. And I feel it would be a good time to, bury those parts of yourself. Maybe you need to write yourself a eulogy here, Pisces, and say, like, okay, this part of me is dead. And this is the new me. This is the new person that I'm committing to, right? And I feel doing that would really, really help you a lot. And just saying, like, this is the type of person I want to be. This is the type of love or life that I want to live. I didn't want to say love. I wanted to say life, but love came out. So there you go. But, this is the type of life I want to live. This is who I am. And, just claim it, right? Kind of cement that in reality and do that. And I feel if you do that, good things will basically happen. You have the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is a card of wish fulfillment, and so normally I consider the Nine of Cups to be wish fulfillment if the star also shows up in a reading. So we're not done yet. We'll see what happens, but to me, the Nine of Cups without the star is alignment. We have to be the thing that we want to be before we can be it, which is definitely true in your reading. Again, it's like you're choosing your identity here in this row. It's like I feel like that's the energy that's coming in for you this month, and you could be getting rid of toxic things and, all that other stuff. But I do also feel that you should be making a wish this month. So, I will say that. With the Queen of Pentacles, you have the Chariot. Definitely could be a victory. Could also be a Cancer coming in for you here. Cancer is obviously the opposite of Capricorn. So there you go. But the Chariot can be a victory, can also be travel. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's time for you to make a big move. It would be a good time for you to make that bang, to really make an impact if you're going to do something. Didn't I say this to you recently? I'm pretty sure I did. But, it's like, the best example I can give you is YouTube, because that's all I do. But it's like if I were to start a new YouTube channel right now, it's like I would start it with, like, not just one video. I would start it with, like, 5 or, like, 10, right? Start whatever you're working on. I'm not saying that you should be working yourself to death or anything like that, but what I am saying is a little bit extra effort will go a long way, right? So it's like time for you to start something with a bang, to really make that impact. Wouldn't surprise, again, there's something about your identity this month and like who you are, but it's like who you believe you are, and I really feel you could be changing that and letting go of old parts of yourself. And excuse me, the Chariot, he is charging forward in a new direction. He's leaving behind everything he has ever known. This is very Piscean. It's like I look at Pisces, like if you know human design, for example, I look at Pisces as like manifestor generators. I know that's not accurate. I'm just saying, right? It's like manifestor generators in human design are here to show people that that they can change, that they can do new things with their lives, that they don't always have to be the same, right? And I feel like Pisces is kind of like that. It's like a lot of Pisces, they kind of like will do one thing and then make an abrupt change to do something different in their career or their business. And, they'll kind of reinvent themselves, multiple times in life. And, I feel like some of you are kind of at one of those points in your life where you're going to make a change. With the Ten of Swords, you have the King of Wands. Yeah, King of Wands about being bold, assertive, brave. I think a good word here would be brave because you have that squirrel spirit that says believe in yourself. I feel you need to believe that you are much more capable. It's like the other thing about squirrels is they like bury their nuts, all over the place, right? And it's like, it's like there's something about that popping into my head for you, Pisces, where it's like I think you have a bunch of nuts all over the place, right? And, it's like it's like these are little bits of resources that you have. These could be experiences that you've had. And it's like, I think those experiences that you've had in life should make you more confident because it's like whatever you're about to do, I think is going to be easier than you think. With the Nine of Cups, you have the Nine of Swords again. Whenever this happens, whenever we have a card here and then here, it's like the universe is zooming it right here. So we'll talk about that in just a second. I feel that you're worried that you're never going to have something. It's like, some people, it's like, like a common question that I used to get on my channel a lot would be when someone turned 30, right? People would be like, I just turned 30. I'm never going to find love, right? Why is that the number? I have no clue, right? But it's like people used to say that to me all the time, like, oh, I'm 30, it's over. I'm like, well, there are plenty of people that get married at like 70, right? And so, it's like, I don't know. It's like, I think my grandmother, she's still alive, actually, and I haven't talked to her since I was 10 because she's a crazy religious person, basically. But, it's a long story. But she got married at like 76 or something like that. I'm pretty sure my mom said that. So, again, it's like people do it all the time, right? And, I think that's what you need to realize. It's like, but I'm not saying this is marriage. I'm just using that as an example. I feel like some of you are saying like, oh, it's over. It's like, I get that type of energy, but it's like not over, Pisces. There's still like a ton of energy for you to be successful. You have this Pinion Pine card. It says patience. You have this Yucca. It says beauty elevates, right? Yeah, I feel like you need, like, yeah, things maybe don't happen when you want them to. And it's like you've had to be patient to wait for that to happen. Again, with the Nine of Swords here, plain and simple, I feel like some of you feel like something is never going to happen, or it's either that or you feel like you're out of time, which makes a lot of sense, by the way. We have Saturn retrograde in our sign, Pisces, basically until February when it moves back into Aries. And Saturn retrograde, even when it goes direct in Pisces, it still can make you feel like you're running out of time or you don't have enough time or something with time. And I really feel this is saying, like, instead of, like, you could spend a lot of time worrying about that, or you could get to work, right? Or you could, start putting in the work to make something happen. And yeah, that's really what I would do here with the Nine of Swords. You have the Devil. It's like, I feel like you need to make the choice. It's like some of you, it's like I do feel like there could be a love offer coming in. But again, if the person is not all in, it's almost like the universe is asking you to pass the test. It's like, don't worry about being alone, is what I feel like saying with the Devil. It's like some of you could meet a person in the month of October, and it's like maybe they just, and again, I don't think we should criticize the person, right? It's like maybe they're just not into you. Sorry, Pisces, right? That's what it is. Or maybe they're only 50% about you. And I feel like this is saying you don't have to tolerate that, Pisces. If it's like if they're not all in, you could just say, hey, this isn't working for me, I'm moving on, right? It's like you don't have to flip out or, like I said, post a crying TikTok, which I think needs to stop on TikTok and Instagram, right? It's just not a good look, right? It's just weird. But, that's what I'll say here. So, I think that this is kind of like encouraging you to pass the test. You have the Knight of Wands. Yeah, I feel like this is you. I think the universe is encouraging you to be a little bit more of a rebel, especially in the moves that you make. We have Gemini in Uranus in Gemini in our 4th house, Pisces. And yeah, Uranus will retrograde out of Gemini in November. And yes, Uranus and Gemini can represent changes in the home or making changes in the home. But one thing I will say is that it also, the 4th house is like the moves that we make. And so I think that you could be making bigger moves, or it's like, more rebellious moves might be the thing that makes you stand out. So don't be afraid of sticking out like a sore thumb. It's like, I once watched an interview with a guy, and it's the guy who makes that death water. I can't remember the freaking name of that, but it's like the water that's out there in the can that has a skull on it. I would never drink it. It says bad things on it, right? Don't put that in your body. But what I would say is I watched an interview with him where he said what made him successful is sticking out in he said you have to let me back up. You have to stick out like a sore thumb in a stale category, right? So you basically have to, maybe some of you are in a stale category. Maybe your business is boring. Maybe your job is boring. But it's like, can you stand out inside of that, And it's like, that's what makes the difference. And that's what I feel like the Knight of Wands is encouraging you to do. It's like encouraging you to stick out, to stick out like a sore thumb right now. And that's what I would do. With the Nine of Swords, you have the Four of Cups. Yeah, it's literally what I said. It's like you're fearing that you're not going to get what you want. He hasn't gotten what he wants like 3 times. But he needs to realize he is getting what he wants. He just has to apply what he learned. We also said that in this reading, that you have all these nuts all over the place that are, basically resources that you need to collect that, could make you very successful. Those resources could just be what you've learned. With the Devil, here you go. You have the Ace of Pentacles. Could be a Capricorn person coming into your life, giving you an opportunity as well. So if you have a Capricorn in your life, or if you meet a Capricorn, there could be a really solid financial opportunity coming in for you here. And I feel like it could make you very successful. I really see you as a bird, Pisces, in this reading as well. It's like imagine if you were a bird that only flew 10 feet off the ground, It's like, that would be pretty lame, And I'm sure some science nerd is going to tell me about a bird that only can fly 10 feet off the ground. Thank you for that, by the way. But what I would say here is that it's like you need to be an eagle, flying up near the sun, Like, you need to soar here, Pisces. I don't know what I'm trying to say, but it's like what you've been doing in your life up until this point is like low level. It's like I think there are a couple things you could do. Just level up, do something different, stick out like a sore thumb in a stale category, yell, scream from the highest mountains, tell people what you do, right, in your life, all that, right? And, I think you need to claim things as well. Let's say you're a real estate agent. I think you need to say, if you meet people, you don't tell them you're a real estate agent. You need to be like, I'm the best freaking real estate agent in this area. You know what I mean? And claim it. And I think that's the attitude Pisces needs here. That's the opportunity you have. With the Knight of Wands, you have the Ace of Cups. I'm telling you right now, I think there are 2 love offers here. And it's like, one is lame. But it's like, I think your brain is telling you, well, this person's like more mysterious. This person's more exciting. They don't talk to me. They only respond to my text every 7 days. It's like, no, wrong, right? That person has 19 girlfriends or 19 boyfriends, whatever you're into. I don't care, right? And so it's like, no, wrong. I think there could be another person that actually is interested, and you might be like, whatever. So, again, pay attention. Next, in the area of the good stuff, you have this Falling Moon card. It says, releasing blocks. Yeah, the whole entire reading. You have this Communicate card. Yes, speak up, right? It's like how you communicate is going to be critically important this month, for sure. That, honestly, if I were you, which I am, that would be the only thing I focused on this month. Maybe it will be, is communication. Like how I communicate to myself, to other people, what I tell other people, the stories I tell, the things I say. Maybe that would be the only thing that you should really focus on, because it seems to me like it will help you the most. And I also think working on any blockages, I already said this because we had that eclipse in Virgo. That Virgo eclipse was very good for removing blockages, and that's what I would focus on here. You have the Eight of Wands, the Six of Pentacles, and the Ace of Wands. The Eight of Wands is quick success, quick conclusions. It is also your words. It is communication. All those wands are pointing in one direction. You cannot say things like, I want $1 million, and also say, I suck at making money. That's pulling in 2 directions. We cannot do that with the Eight of Wands. One direction. Everything needs to point in one direction. And it's not about being perfect either. It's like, of course we all say things we shouldn't. So, it's about catching yourself and just correcting it. That's all you have to do. But, there clearly could be quick success coming in for you this month. You have the Six of Pentacles. Yeah, it's time to start planting those seeds. It's time to start working in the right direction. He's also giving to this person, not this person. This person wants something. This person has something in their back pocket. And so, again, he's giving to the right person, not the wrong person. And this person is bowed down at their feet, at this person's feet. This person just feels a little bit more humble to me, Pisces. This person is not. Their head's up. They're a little bit cocky here on this card, right? And he knows. So it's like, Pisces, who's coming in the right energy and who's not. So there you go. Boom. You have the Ace of Wands, 3 aces here, which is really good. 3 aces definitely would suggest like some sort of new opportunity that could make you very successful. That's, anything new that you could work on will make you very successful. With the 8 of Wands, you have the Hierophant, which could be blessings rushing in. So, again, this actually, it looks scary, but it's not a scary reading. I feel the scary cards are about things that you have to change or things that you have to do, and I think there could be some blessings coming in for you here. With the 6 of Pentacles, told you, 3 of Swords, do not get heartbroken this month. That is the other scary thing that could happen for you. It's like maybe you meet a person, they seem exciting, they seem interesting, maybe they ride a motorcycle, I don't care, whatever you're into, right? It's like maybe they've been to jail a couple of times. I get it. It's like we sometimes we're interested in those things, but what I would say here, wrong, Pisces, probably a bad idea. So I think you need to focus on healing your heart, not hurting it again. There you go. With the Ace of Wands, you have the 5 of Cups. Yep, you will not regret this. You will not regret something new that you're doing with your life, whatever your idea is, Pisces. Oh, you cannot make this up. Are you freaking kidding me? It's like, I said that you're like a bird that only flies 10 feet off the ground. Or like, you can't, look at this, Pisces, come on. The first card I pull for you is this tiny little bird. I realize these sparrows or whatever, they fly higher than 10 feet. But like this bird here at the end is like flying way above the ground here, Pisces, whatever. So this card says, waiting for news, package, or letter. There is definitely communication coming in for you, so if you've been waiting for news, package, or letter, yes. You have this Nest card. It says, an emotionally secure, loving family is important to you. Yes, for sure. Again, I think this, like the type of person, if you're looking to have a family, you need to make sure you attract the right type of person. You have this Throne card. It says position of authority. Yeah, you just need to claim the authority, Pisces. Very simple. I really feel this for you. Where it's like, I notice this on social media, where it's like all of a sudden there will be a person who comes out of nowhere. They have like 1 million subscribers all of a sudden. And this is what I've noticed about those people. They just say that they are the thing. They just claim to be the expert. There's a certain energy to those people. It's like they just are. And I feel like that's the secret sauce for you in this reading this month of October, Pisces. Just like, claiming it. And when you talk about something, you need to have that certainty, that irrational self-confidence, right? Damn, this is one heck of a reading. You have this harp. It says great happiness. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of happiness available to you if you choose it. So choose happiness. You have this bird flying. It says news is on the way. Yeah, clearly there's like news rushing in for you here. So, I feel like that's pretty good as well. But definitely good news is what I meant to say. But this looks really good, Pisces. This is a powerful reading, I would say. It is kind of a powerful month-ish, so I like it. But thank you for being here. I forgot to say, make sure to like and leave a comment. Really helps me out. But thank you, and definitely enjoy your month.